First Contact Protocol. The ship's medical bay was pristine, almost too sterile, with equipment humming softly as Captain Reeves entered. The head physician, a tall woman with silver-streaked hair tied in a tight bun, looked up from her holographic display. "Captain, I'm Dr. Penelope Frost," she said, her voice crisp and clear, notably lacking any draconic qualities. "I imagine you have questions." "About 1,000,000, Reeves replied, watching as his communications officer, Lieutenant Orion Blackwood, sat patiently on an examination table, occasionally emitting soft chirps. "Starting with why you're not screeching." "I was planetside when it happened," Dr. Frost explained, tapping her screen to reveal complex neurological scans. "The Celestial Voyager was mapping the Veil Nebula when they encountered what we believe was a linguistic quantum field. Only those aboard were affected." Reeves studied the brain scans, noting unusual activity in the speech centers. "Can it be reversed?" "We're working on it. For now, we've developed this." Dr. Frost handed him a small device resembling an earpiece. "It's a rudimentary translator. Still in prototype stage, but it might help." Reeves fitted the device to his ear as Blackwood produced a series of complex tones and growls. The translator crackled, "Course, set, permission, proceed." "It only captures about 30% of what they're saying," Dr. Frost admitted. "Their new language operates on multiple frequencies simultaneously, some beyond human hearing range." The ship's engineering officer entered the medbay, a stocky man with calloused hands who introduced himself through a series of low rumbles and clicks. "That's Commander Jax Fleming," Dr. Frost translated. "Brilliant engineer. He's been working on modifying the translator." Fleming handed Reeves a tablet displaying ship diagnostics and made a questioning screech. "He's asking if you want to inspect the engine modifications before departure," Dr. Frost explained. Reeves nodded. "Tell him yes, and," he paused. "Wait, departure. We're cleared for launch." Dr. Frost's expression tightened. "Command wants the Celestial Voyager back in the field immediately." The linguistic issue was deemed non-critical. "Non-critical?" Reeves echoed incredulously. "How am I supposed to command a ship when I can barely understand my crew?" Fleming made a series of sounds that the translator rendered as, "Trust, patterns, will learn." Tactical Officer Walsh appeared at the doorway. "Bridge is ready, Captain. We've received our assignment." "Which is?" Reeves asked, already dreading the answer. "Investigating anomalous signals in the Crimson Nebula." Reeves suppressed a groan. "Another nebula. Wonderful." As they made their way to the bridge, Reeves observed his crew working with remarkable efficiency despite their communication limitations. They moved with practiced coordination, anticipating each other's needs through subtle gestures and varying pitches of screeches. Lieutenant Vox stood at the helm, her fingers dancing across controls as she turned to acknowledge Reeves with a respectful nod and gentle trill. "I'm still learning your language," Reeves admitted to his crew as he took the captain's chair. "But I promise you this, I will listen. Not just with this device, but with everything I have." The bridge crew responded with harmonious screeches that, while untranslatable, carried an unmistakable tone of approval. Reeves tapped the communication panel. "Captain's log, stardate 2247. 6. I've taken command of the most unusual crew in the fleet. Our mission begins with a mystery, theirs, and I intend to solve it. Celestial Voyager, prepare for departure." The translator's secret. The probe streaked toward the mysterious device, a brilliant flash against the crimson backdrop of the nebula. Commander Fleming had modified it in record time, integrating components from his personal translation project to interact with the field generator. "Impact in 5 seconds, Walsh announced, his eyes fixed on the tactical display. Reeves watched, breath held, as the probe made contact with the metallic structure. A blinding pulse of energy erupted from the point of impact, expanding outward in concentric rings that rippled through the nebula. The Celestial Voyager shuddered as the wave hit, systems fluctuating wildly before stabilizing. The pull of the vortex weakened, allowing Lieutenant Vox to maneuver the ship to a safer distance. "Good work," Reeves said, exhaling slowly. "Status report." His officers responded with their usual screeches and growls, but something had changed. The translator in his ear suddenly began picking up more complete phrases, as if the energy pulse had somehow calibrated it. Commander Fleming's voice came through the comm system. "Captain, Medbay, important discovery." Reeves turned to Walsh. "You have the bridge. Keep scanning that device." In the medbay, Reeves found Commander Fleming and Dr. Frost huddled over a complex array of equipment. Fleming's expression was animated as he produced a series of modulated screeches. The translator rendered his speech with surprising clarity. "Field recalibrated our neural pathways, not broken, enhanced." "Explain," Reeves demanded, looking between the engineer and the doctor. Dr. Frost gestured to a neural scan displayed on her monitor. "After analyzing the field emitted by that device, we've made a breakthrough." The crew's speech wasn't damaged, it was transformed. Fleming screeched enthusiastically, the translator now capturing most of his meaning. "Dragon speech is multidimensional language, contains harmonic layers, conveys more information than standard speech." "You're saying this isn't a disability?" Reeves asked, beginning to understand. "Far from it," Dr. Frost replied. "They're speaking a hyper-efficient language. Each screech contains multiple data streams layered in harmonics, pitches, and subtle vibrations. That's why our translators struggled. They were trying to convert a four-dimensional language into linear speech." Fleming activated a holographic display showing waveform analyses of the crew's screeches. Complex patterns emerged, revealing mathematical structures that resembled musical notation but infinitely more complex. "One screech equals 20 words, the translator conveyed as Fleming demonstrated. Reeves studied the patterns with growing fascination. "So they've been communicating perfectly with each other this whole time, while I've been hearing only fragments." "Precisely," Dr. Frost confirmed. "And now we understand why Starfleet didn't recall the ship. They recognized the potential benefits." Fleming made a series of excited chirps, pointing to a modified communicator badge on his workbench. The translator interpreted, "Built new translator, learn full language, join us." Reeves picked up the device, turning it over in his hand. "You're suggesting I learn to speak in dragon screeches too?" Fleming nodded vigorously, his expression earnest as he produced a melodic series of sounds that the translator rendered as, "Not just speak, think differently, see more." The ship's communication system suddenly activated. Walsh's voice was tense. "Captain to the bridge. We're receiving a distress call, from inside the device." Reeves clipped the new translator to his uniform. "Coming." He turned to Fleming, hesitating before asking, "Will this work?" The engineer's response came through with perfect clarity, "Only one way to find out." Unexpected promotion. Captain Nikolai Reeves stood frozen in the gleaming corridor of Starbase 11, staring at his reflection in the polished metal wall. The promotion notification still blinked on his wrist comm, its blue light casting an eerie glow on his weathered face. No ceremony, no handshakes, just a simple message: report to Docking Bay 17. Command of the Celestial Voyager effective immediately. "They could have at least sent a congratulatory cupcake," he muttered, adjusting his newly pinned captain's insignia. The Celestial Voyager wasn't just any ship, it was a legendary deep space explorer with a reputation for impossible missions and peculiar encounters. Reeves had applied for the position without expectation, assuming some decorated Commodore would claim the chair. As he approached Docking Bay 17, Reeves noticed the unusual silence. Most crew transfers involve chatter, equipment movements, the organized chaos of transition. Here, only the soft hum of the station's environmental systems broke the quiet. "Captain Reeves," a voice called from behind. He turned to find a tall man with a neatly trimmed beard and lieutenant commander stripes. "I'm Tactical Officer Dominic Walsh. Welcome aboard, sir." "Thanks," Reeves replied, extending his hand. "Good to meet my first officer." Walsh grimaced. About that, sir. There's something you should know before boarding. Problem with the ship? Reeves asked, his stomach tightening. Not exactly. It's the crew. They're different. Before Reeves could ask for clarification, the docking bay doors slid open, revealing the sleek silhouette of the celestial Voyager. Its hull gleamed under the stark station lights, a testament to advanced engineering and elegant design. A group of officers stood in formation at the airlock. Each wore the standard uniform of the Galactic fleet, but their posture seemed oddly rigid, almost primal. Reeves stepped forward. I'm Captain Nikolai Reeves. I look forward to serving with you all. The response was immediate and utterly bewildering. Instead of salutes or welcomes, the assembled officers opened their mouths and released a series of high-pitched screeches, growls, and rumbling sounds that echoed through the docking bay. Reeves staggered backward. What the hell? Walsh sighed. That's what I was trying to tell you, sir. They only speak in dragon screeches. Dragon screeches? Reeves repeated, his mind struggling to process the information. Yes, sir. It happened during their last mission through the Veil Nebula. Some kind of quantum anomaly. Medical's still trying to figure it out. The helmsman, a short woman with bright red hair, approached Reeves and produced a series of melodic chirps followed by a guttural rumble. That's Lieutenant Talia Vox, Walsh explained. She's saying welcome aboard, I think. Reeves looked from officer to officer, each watching him expectantly. Their eyes were intelligent, aware, clearly not the effect of reduced cognitive function. Can they understand me? He asked. Perfectly, sir. They comprehend standard language. They just can't speak it. Reeves squared his shoulders. This wasn't covered in command training, but then again, the most important challenges never were. Well then, he said, stepping toward the airlock, I guess I'd better learn to speak dragon. Crisis in the nebula. The Crimson Nebula lived up to its name, vast clouds of scarlet gas swirling against the void of space like blood diffusing through water. The celestial Voyager navigated cautiously through the cosmic mist, sensors straining to penetrate the dense particulate matter that interfered with most scanning equipment. Captain Reeves leaned forward in his command chair, studying the main viewscreen with narrowed eyes. Any sign of those anomalous signals, Lieutenant Blackwood? The communications officer produced a series of chirps and clicks, his fingers adjusting the frequency controls with practiced precision. The translator in Reeves' ear offered an incomplete interpretation, signal, scattered, multiple sources. Can you pinpoint the origin? Reeves asked, moving to stand beside Blackwood's station. Before the lieutenant could respond, the ship shuddered violently. Warning lights flashed across the bridge as systems momentarily fluctuated. What was that? Reeves demanded. Tactical Officer Walsh checked his readings. Energy wave, sir. Similar to what affected the crew's speech patterns, but stronger. Lieutenant Vox screeched urgently from the helm, her hands moving rapidly across controls as the ship trembled again. The translator picked up fragments, field, expanding, navigation compromised. Reeves tapped his comm badge. Engineering, report. Commander Fleming's response came as a series of low rumbles and sharp clicks that the translator struggled to decipher, shields, holding, propulsion, affected. The view screen flickered, displaying a growing distortion in the nebula's swirling gases, a spiraling vortex pulling matter inward. It's some kind of gravity well, Walsh observed. Forming right in our path. Lieutenant Vox emitted a series of high-pitched trills that required no translation, they were clearly sounds of alarm. Her hands worked frantically at the helm controls, but the ship continued to drift toward the vortex. All stop. Reeves ordered. Reverse thrusters. The engines whined in protest as they fought against the pull of the anomaly. Reeves watched as his crew coordinated their efforts through a symphony of screeches and growls, communicating in ways he couldn't fully comprehend but could recognize as remarkably efficient. Commander Fleming's voice came through the comm, a sequence of rapidly changing tones, diverting auxiliary power shields. The ship's systems flickered again, more severely this time. Several consoles sparked, plunging sections of the bridge into darkness. Walsh looked up from his tactical station. "Sir, I'm detecting something at the center of the vortex. It appears to be artificial." The view screen zoomed in, revealing a metallic structure pulsing with blue energy at the heart of the disturbance. "Some kind of device," Reeves murmured. "It's generating the field." Lieutenant Blackwood's station suddenly emitted a burst of static, followed by a fragmented transmission. The communications officer screeched in surprise, then made adjustments to clarify the signal. A distorted voice emerged from the speakers: "Trapped, linguistic field, help." Reeves exchanged glances with Walsh. "Survivors?" Before Walsh could answer, the ship lurched violently. Structural integrity alarms blared as the celestial Voyager was pulled closer to the vortex. Lieutenant Vox released a piercing screech that the translator rendered simply as, "failing." Reeves gripped the arm of his chair. "Prepare to launch a probe. Target that device. We need to disrupt whatever field it's generating." As his crew worked frantically to execute his orders, Reeves realized with sudden clarity that despite the language barrier, they were functioning as a cohesive unit, their screeches and growls forming a complex communication system that, while alien to him, was allowing them to respond to the crisis with remarkable coordination. Perhaps the dragon screeches weren't a disability after all, but something more.